Hey there, my name's David and you're watching The Restyle File. I'm a part-time reseller on Poshmark, Mercari, Depop, and eBay, and I also consign on The RealReal. I'm back in the comfort of my regular shooting area, and today I have a thrift haul. I have not posted a what sold video in a while just because I've been doing a little bit of traveling, but I am back and my closet is off of vacation mode. And I have sales coming in as well, so look forward to that in the future. But today I have about 16 items that I've sourced very recently that I want to show you all. I'm going to let you know where I picked them up, about how much I paid for them, and what I could likely expect to price the item for or make in profit. If you enjoy reselling content, then please make sure to like, comment, share this video, and make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon. That way you're notified every time I upload a new video. I love making what sold videos, thrift with me's, and also thrift hauls. Now my resources here may look a little scarce, but it's because I have a bunch of shoes and even a couple of hard goods that I am excited to show you guys today. Starting off with our first item here, this is a new brand to me, but I believe it is a streetwear brand, and you can see that it is a tie-dye fleece oversized sweatshirt. You can also see it has a little astronaut here. And it is by Billionaire Boys Club, and it's size extra large. The only reason I know about this brand is because The RealReal listed one of my items and they accidentally listed it as a Billionaire's Boys Club item instead of the actual brand that it was. They ultimately did fix it before they listed it, but after I saw that, I now had it locked in my memory. This is a brand that apparently is worth knowing. On that note, they don't price their things terribly high. I think this was probably about 100 and some new or retail, but I paid probably about $6 or $7 for it at Goodwill, and I will probably list it at about $60, so I'm hoping to get about a $40 to $50 profit. The next item here is traditional bread and butter. I pick these up anytime I see them, really. And it is a polka dot schoolboy blazer, and it is by J. Crew Factory. You can tell that it's J. Crew Factory because of the two diamonds beneath J. Crew. And it's a great size, it's a size 14, and it's just a staple. These always sell fairly quickly and fairly decently. I picked this up for about $10 at Goodwill, and I'm going to be listing it at $50, and hopefully get somewhere in the $35 to $45 range. A great thing to know about J. Crew, like some other labels, is that it does have the style name and the time frame of when this item was created on the interior care tag, so that helps you with looking up comp photos and also checking out how this item is performing. This next item here, I kind of took a gamble on. I paid $60 for it, and it is a black plain suit, and it is by Louis Vuitton, and you can see there beneath it, it says uniforms. So a lot of luxury retailers actually require that their employees wear their brands, of course, and sometimes they even provide them with a complimentary suit or piece of clothing that they can wear. Louis Vuitton is one of them. I know Gucci does it as well, Dior as well, a lot of the high-end ones. But they do tend to typically be items that are a little bit plainer and more discreet. For instance, this one you really don't see much branding at all, other than I can see this right here. It's one of their little symbols that you see on their bags and their merchandise. It also has a pair of pants that I have hung here on the rack. I'm not going to take that out just because it's a very plain black pantsuit. But I paid $60 for it, and I'm actually tempted to send it into The RealReal just because I checked comps on this particular item, and it looks like they were pricing just like blazers by themselves at about $400. So I'm kind of tempted to see if perhaps they might list a full suit. Both the pants and the jacket are in the same size, so hopefully they'll list them together if they accept them somewhere. And I have no idea. I'm not even gonna wager a guess. Not even sure if they will accept it. In retrospect, this might not be a gamble that pays off, but worst case scenario, I could sell this myself, even on platforms like Poshmark, Mercari, etc., you do still see these types of items selling for anywhere from $100 to a couple of $100. And in case you can't tell from the little pink tag at the label or this one, I picked it up at Goodwill in the boutique section. Wish me luck on this one. The next item I have here is a cropped, oversized, drop-shouldered hoodie in a nice beige neutral color. Very quiet luxury, and it is by Frankie Shop, and it's a size extra small. Frankie Shop is pretty expensive retail, especially if you find things like their outerwear or their coats or their jackets or blazers or some of their dresses. This hoodie is on the lower end, but even this hoodie is probably about $160 new. And it's in great condition and it's oversized, so even the small size is not a huge deterrent for me. I picked it up at Goodwill, so I paid probably about $7 for it. And I'm going to probably list this at about $60 or maybe $75 and hope for somewhere in the $45 to $60 range. The next item here is super Wednesday Addams core. And it is this midi vintage polka dot dress with this white collar, puffed sleeves. It does have shoulder pads that I imagine you can remove if it's not your style. And it is by Act 1 New York, which I'm pretty sure is a vintage label. And it says their lot size is 3 to 4. And it is slightly sheer, but I could not resist picking this up. I actually picked this up at a thrift store at South Padre Island, well, at Port Isabel, for about $5. And I think considering how on trend it is, since Wednesday is a really popular show on Netflix, Wednesday Addams, for those who don't know, I think I could probably list this at about 50 or 60, maybe even 75. We'll see. A good tip for all resellers is whenever you see slip dresses out in the wild, pick them up, especially if they're in neutral colors like black, white, or beige, just because it is inevitable that you will eventually find a really nice dress like this that is slipless but also kind of sheer. So it's much better to sort of lump it together with a slip that didn't come with it than to reflect that in your price and have to take a ding. Pretty excited about this find. This next item I did not source myself. This was actually sourced by my older sister. It is absolutely incredible. Just look, it is a black sleeveless bodycon midi dress, and it has all this interesting corsetry detailing here at the center bust. And it is super goth core, very Y2K, and it is a designer dress. And it is by Dolce & Gabbana, D&G. And it is a size 34, which I think is actually a pretty generous size. But of course all this corsetry makes it a little difficult to determine what exactly the size is. And I've checked comps on this dress, and from what I've seen, most resellers, there's a couple of them floating out there, most resellers have them listed at about $400 to $500. So it does need a little bit of work. There's some loose threads. One of the hook eye closures at the neckline is needing to be stitched up. Also the back zipper is also coming off. So I think I can easily hand stitch that myself. But it's still in pretty great condition, and I'm gonna have to correspond with my sister to see what we think would be a good price for it. I'm actually just doing this one just for the love of it. I just thought it would be fun to put on a mannequin, take some great photos of it, and get it listed. And maybe we'll also price it somewhere in the $400 to $500 range. But when she sent me a photo of this, I was like, you have to let me sell that, please. We'll see how it does. This next item here, my last clothing item, is a bright orange with pink florals Hawaiian dress. And it is maxi length and it is very vintage. I can tell that this is 100% rayon, even though the material tag is blurred out. And it is by a brand that I've sold once before with great success. So you can see there on the label, it says Mamo Howl. And Mamo Howl is a very well-known vintage Hawaiian label. and it appears that their dresses do especially well. I've sold this label one time before. It was actually in a previous thrift haul. I'll try to link that up here, from a sale that I went to for Buffalo Exchange that was Earth Day, so all items were $1, and I found a playsuit or romper by Mamo Howell that was vintage, and it sold in less than a day. In just a matter of a few hours after listing it, I actually received several offers on several different platforms. I don't think I've ever had an item generate that much interest that quickly, and it quickly sold for $100. This dress, however, is not in the best condition. It does have some wear. You can see here at the bust that there's some wearing away at the fabric. And also on this right hand sleeve, I actually just did some hand stitching prior to listing it earlier today. You can see there that there is some stitches that I had to make just because there was some fraying, and I'm not going to pretend that I'm a professional. This is amateur level, but at the very least I thought that could help me defend a little bit in terms of pricing and not have to take a huge loss on that. Unfortunately, there is no size tag either, but I'm pretty sure that it would look good on most sizes. And I'm tempted to say that it'd be great for summer, for throwing over a swimsuit, taking it to the beach, taking it to vacation, and it's a really great color. So I picked it up at Goodwill for $8, and I'm going to be listing it at about $75, hoping to fall somewhere around that mark. Next, we're going to go into shoes. So my first pickup was at Goodwill. I picked these up. They priced them pretty cheap. I was surprised because they're in great condition, and they usually, I feel like Goodwill is kind of starting to not mark up everything by J. Crew. Maybe they're learning their lesson, but these were $8, and they are just these sling-back heels with these rhinestone detailing bows at the front, and it says on the interior Holiday 2022, so they are a fairly recent style, and they are a size 9. So they are really nice. Just a couple of light surface marks here, but nothing too severe. I'm tempted to list these at probably about $45 to $50, and I think they would look great any time of year, but I'm sure that they'll do especially well in the holiday season if they don't sell before then. These next shoes are a new to me label, and they are these brown leather, sort of almost Western style boots, very bohemian. You can see they have this interesting gold detail beneath the heel. It looks like it was at Nordstrom off the rack or something, and it says past season for $80 in comparison to $174. They are Rachel Zoe, which I have no experience selling, but I've heard that a lot of Rachel Zoe is not worth a lot. But this particular style, which is called the Brenda boot, this particular color is called Brandy, I believe. I checked comps on. They seem to be priced fairly well, anywhere from $50 to $90 on the reselling sites, so I figured I'd give them a shot. These were $10 at Goodwill. Next brand is a bolo that you need to know about if you don't already, but they are Kizik, which are famous for being shoes that you can slip on without having to go down and tie your shoe. You just slip your foot into them and they pop back up once you've put them on. This particular shoe is called the Malibu Eco, I believe. You can see there it says Kizik. Kizik, K-I-Z-I-K. And these are a women's size 7, men's size 5.5. I'm probably going to list them as women's size just because they strike me as women's shoes. And I actually paid up for these. They cost $19.99, so roughly 20 bucks. But I checked the sell-through rate, and Kizik, it's been over 100% for a while. And the last time I bought Kizik, which was actually the only time I've ever bought them, they did sell very quickly. So I figured, yeah, why not? And they are in excellent condition. They, aside from Goodwill marking the bottom soles, they don't appear to have any signs of use. So I will probably list these at about $60 or $70. I believe they're $100 new. Next item here is a pair of black pirate boots. And they are by Jeffrey Campbell. I'd show you the interior label, but it's all the way in there, so it's kind of hard to show it, and for whatever reason, they don't show it on the bottom sole. They're size 7.5, and as you can imagine, the style of this boot is called the swash, as in swashbuckling. And they just have suede and leather and buckles, and I picked these up at the bodega in Hidalgo, Texas, which is deep, deep, deep South Texas, and I paid probably about $3 for them, so I figured I can make more than that on these. There weren't too many comps, and Jeffrey Campbell is super hit and miss, but I'm gonna try to be bold with these and list them anywhere from 60 to 80, and hopefully get somewhere in the 50 to 75 mark area. Just because I thought they were kind of cool, they're kind of unique. That usually works in Jeffrey Campbell's favor, but definitely always check comps when you're looking at Jeffrey Campbell, because a lot of stuff out there just ain't worth it. And I don't know why, but the bodega was really piling on the boots this time. So I also bought these black flat-soled knee-high boots, and they are by Diane von Furstenberg, which is usually super hit and miss brand. And to be honest, boots are probably not a super high seller for them, but I checked comps. The comps are okay. And I probably paid about $2 for these as well, so I'm sure that I can make that back. If not now, then they should probably move around fall. One of them actually still had the retail tag, and it said $179 at the Nordstrom off the rack, I assume this label is from, and Compare at $395. That's wild. But I will probably list these at about $50, and hopefully they'll move at some point. The cost of goods was so low that I was willing to risk it. Did somebody ask for more boots? Because I got more boots. These knee-high boots have sort of a wrinkled, disheveled, sort of slouchy look to them. And again, the label is all the way down there, so I am not going to be able to accurately show that, but these are Steve Madden, which I also don't have a lot of experience with, but these were just in such good condition that I was like, I can't pass this up. They were like $3 or $4. Again, can't pass it up. These are called Savas, S-A-V-A-S, and they're a 9.5. And from what I checked on comps, they were kind of all over the place. Some were listed at 55, one or two were listed at like 25. So I think maybe the $45 to $65 range is probably going to work with these, especially since they're in great condition and a really great color. And if not now, they'll move in the fall, I'm sure. Last pair of shoes here is a brand that I typically don't pick up that much anymore, just because the couple of times I've picked it up, it's been an absolute nightmare. Let me know in the comments below if you have any luck with this brand. It is Dansko. And I just kind of like these just because they were black leather and they were at the bodega, so they were super cheap, probably about $1 or $2. And they were a slingback style, which I don't always see with Dansko. Usually they're just either an absolute mule or a slip-on of some sort, and they're size 37, which I think is like a 6.5 or a 6 or a 7. But I figured there's probably an easy 30 to 40 bucks. It might also linger in my closet for the next 2 years like Dansko usually does for me. I don't know what the trick is with Dansko. If you have any advice on Dansko, please let me know in the comments below. If I had a nickel for however many times I've said, do not pass the belt section, here's another nickel. I got this belt at Goodwill. Check it out. Genuine American Alligator. It is by Barry Kieselstein. I looked up that brand and these belts are super expensive. They resell for about $200 to $400. And apart from that, also check out what's on the buckle. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it just because it's pretty small, but it does say there's sterling. So I might be tempted to say that the buckle and the metal detailing is sterling silver. And I took off the sticker tag, but you can see there that it was priced at V1P. So that's purple, and V1 means that it was $5.99. So for an alligator skin belt with a silver belt buckle, that is an absolute steal. No way in Halifax that I was going to leave this one behind. So belt section, do not skip it. Probably one of the biggest opportunities for profit out of all these items I've sourced so far. And now for my final item that I've sourced. It's actually a set, and I have no idea what to do with these just because I really couldn't find any comps anywhere, and I kind of just bought them on a complete whim. So I'd love to hear what you all think would be a good idea with these, or if you think they're even worth anything at all. They are new in box vintage car seat covers featuring designs from Amy Brown in a sort of fairy motif. You can see a purple fairy there, and that's actually what's on the car seat at the top of it. And it's purple velvet, and there's two of them. And I don't know what possessed me to purchase these. I tried looking online and I couldn't find anything that was really comparable, except for I think there was like an Amazon listing that sold out a long time ago and it had no dollar amount. But something about this told me that these could be collectible and might even be a good thing to put up for auction on eBay. But I paid roughly $3 or $4 for each of them at Goodwill, and I still don't really know what I want to do with them. Do you have any recommendations? If so, please let me know in the comments below. But maybe I might put them on auction, or maybe I just might try listing them together for 50 bucks on my platforms. I still need to do some digging. That's it for my thrift haul. I want to thank you so much for taking a look through the items that I sourced. Did you have one that you thought was especially great, or one that you would have picked up yourself? Let me know in the comments below. Have you sourced anything incredible lately? I'd also love to hear about that. Before you go, please make sure to support this video by liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing to this channel, and hitting the bell icon so you're notified every time I upload a video. It really helps me out, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a stupendous sales week, and until next time, see ya! Today, I want to show an item that is absolutely crucial to my side hustle as a reseller. My sewing kit. I actually don't remember where I got this. I think I bought it at Goodwill a while back. It just has these multiple layers, and you can see that it has a bunch of different colored little spools that I plant in there. I refresh it every so often. And I have safety pins, a bunch of hook and eyes that I bought as well. That way, whenever a dress or an item is missing some of those, I can just stitch it up. And of course, the top is a pin cushion. Getting better at stitching and sewing is actually sort of on my to-do list. I'm curious to know if any of you all have any experience with stitching or hand stitching, replacing a button, simple stuff like that, or even more expert stuff. I feel like knowing this type of trade could greatly expand what types of items you pick up, because more often than not, used items in the thrift store are always going to have some sorts of signs of wear, missing buttons, missing hook and eyes, broken zippers, and sometimes you may be tempted to leave behind a really good quality item just because it has a defect that you can't fix. So I'm very interested in learning more about how to hand stitch, how to improve my button sewing, and possibly learn on repairing zippers and other things like that. But I love this little thing. Until next time, I'll sew you later. That was awful. Bye.